What if I told you that one of the most beloved songs of the last decade almost cost Ed Sheeran everything? His money, his reputation, even his future in music. Stick around because in this video we're pulling back the curtain on a billion-dollar legal battle, a courtroom performance no one saw coming, and the moment Ed Sheeran nearly quit music forever. From lawsuits to legacy, this is the true story behind the most expensive song theft accusation in pop history. Back in 2014, Ed Sheeran released Thinking Out Loud, a soulful love ballad that melted hearts across the globe. It wasn't just a hit, it became the wedding song of a generation. 6 times platinum, a Grammy win, over 5 billion streams. But not everyone was clapping along. A few ears heard more than just love and melody. They heard something suspiciously familiar. In the 1970s, Marvin Gaye dropped Let's Get It On, a smooth, seductive anthem that helped define a generation. It was written with Ed Townsend. Fast forward 4 decades, the Townsend estate, along with structured asset sales, accused Sheeran of copying the feel of that very track. We're not talking about a few angry tweets here. This was a federal lawsuit, claiming that Ed's song borrowed not just inspiration, but the actual musical DNA of Let's Get It On. The amount, up to $2 billion. This wasn't just about money. This was about Sheeran's entire legacy. In 2023, Ed Sheeran walked into a Manhattan courtroom, not in a suit and tie, but with a guitar strapped to his shoulder. He wasn't just ready to defend himself, he was ready to perform. And when the moment came, he played, in front of the jury, thinking out loud, and then Let's Get It On. Then he looked them in the eye and said, "If I'm found guilty, I'm done. I'll quit music." That wasn't a PR move, that was raw. And after just 3 hours, the jury delivered its verdict. Not guilty. But the fight wasn't over. Structured asset sales immediately filed an appeal, dragging the case through the legal system for another 2 years. The music world held its breath, again. Ed wasn't just defending himself, he was defending every songwriter who ever pulled from the sounds they grew up on. Because here's the truth. The entire case revolved around 4 chords, 1, 3, 4, 5, used in thousands of songs by the Beatles, Adele, Coldplay, Sam Cooke, and yes, Marvin Gaye. The plaintiffs said Sheeran stole a vibe, but under US copyright law, a vibe isn't copyrightable. You can own a lyric, a melody, a rhythm, but not a feeling. If Ed lost, it would open the floodgates. Dozens, maybe hundreds of other artists could be targeted. Creativity would become a liability. Critics of the lawsuit called it a cash grab. But defenders argued that even a vibe is part of the artistic experience and deserves protection. Music experts testified on both sides, dissecting rhythms and harmonic textures down to milliseconds. One musicologist compared Ed's song to over 50 others using the same progression. The defense asked, if this is theft, then is half the pop industry guilty? Ed wasn't alone in the courtroom. Behind him stood a line of music industry figures, songwriters, producers, even major artists, who knew this case could change everything. Some called it the trial of the decade for pop music. Others feared it was the beginning of a legal war on creativity itself. In interviews leading up to the verdict, Sheeran stayed calm, but cracks were showing. In one moment off camera, he reportedly broke down in tears, saying, "This isn't just a case, this is my entire career under threat." The pressure was enormous and deeply personal.
A jury has found in favor of Ed Sheeran.
When the jury delivered their verdict, not guilty, the reaction was immediate. Social media exploded. Hashtag Ed Sheeran innocent trended worldwide. But behind the celebration was an unsettling realization. Ed had the money, the lawyers, the platform. What about the artists who don't? Industry executives began quietly reassessing their own strategies. A few even paused album releases to double-check samples and chord patterns. The ripple effect of Ed's case was already in motion. This wasn't just about what happened, it was about what could happen next. Behind the scenes, artists across the industry were quietly panicking. Songwriters started hiring legal consultants before even finishing their demos. Music labels began scanning new releases with AI tools just to be safe. The ripple effects were already showing. Several songs were delayed or pulled from release entirely. Out of fear, they might accidentally trigger a lawsuit. And the bigger the artist, the bigger the target. Olivia Rodrigo, who'd recently exploded onto the scene, found herself giving retroactive songwriting credit to artists like Paramore and Taylor Swift, not because of lawsuits, but because the comparisons were loud, public, and potentially dangerous. Some saw it as respectful. Others saw it as preemptive surrender. The message to young artists was clear: don't sound too much like anyone, but also don't be too original either. It was a tightrope. Dua Lipa, Sam Smith, Coldplay, Katy Perry. The list of artists who've been sued for similar-sounding songs just keeps growing. And every case is a reminder of how blurry the line is between influence and infringement. This was the reality Ed Sheeran was fighting against, a system where creating something new suddenly came with legal risks no artist was trained for. Ed knew he had to win, not just for himself, but for the kids writing songs in their bedrooms, afraid their next chord might be their last. In his own words, every song sounds like something. If we punish people for that, we kill the music. And maybe he was right. In the weeks after his final court victory, Ed returned to the stage, not as a defendant, but as an artist. He told fans, "This win isn't just mine, it's yours too." His next concert opened with Thinking Out Loud, played with more emotion than ever before. Not just a song, but a statement. If you've made it this far, here's your moment. Was Ed Sheeran guilty, or was this a giant overreaction? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear what you think. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for more music industry breakdowns, lawsuits, and untold stories behind your favorite songs. Because sometimes the music you love has a story you've never heard.